Yeah, love is a beautiful thing. I know when I say it, there are people whose hearts are pumping, and palpitating, and they're like, love is a beautiful thing. You don't know what we are going through. I know those are things that actually happen to, I think, to everyone. I can't say that there are people that are immune to issues when two people come together from different backgrounds, whether they get married or it's just a relationship, whatever it is. But for as long as they're coming together to relate, there is always friction, there is always, and sometimes the friction goes to the extreme that you cannot stay together. The reason as to why we start like that is because we majorly talk about relationships on this podcast, and then we get a lot of questions from you still about relationships, and I know that so many of you have picked one or two things, so we are glad to be here to have this chat, honest chat with you about the things that we have gone through, the things that we have learned, and the things that we've been able to help a few people in the therapy sessions that we've had with some of you.
Yeah, life is designed that way.
Yeah.
And someone said, if you are so happy and so peaceful in your marriage, like it was manufactured in heaven, no one annoys the other, and it's so perfect, there's a problem.
I think it will be boring.
Yes, he said it's impossible to have that kind of life, mostly where you're meeting someone who was raised
differently.
Exactly, and a different tribe,
different
culture and everything. There will always be issues, but it's those issues, it's those differences that glue you together, that give you that bond, that make you even fall in love. It's some of those differences. So when you said that you're together and you hear you're fighting and you're hugging the next day and you are making ends meet, you're looking each other in the eye and you're crying.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and you're hugging and you're saying, I'm sorry, forgive me. That's life. Even with your own blood sister or brother.
Yes.
Such happens. How much more
even
with
with
your
parents,
wife? Yeah, so it's okay. It happens. But God is faithful that He designed it that way and it's beautiful that way. So if you're there and you have a few points where you've rubbed each other the wrong way, probably even as we're doing this podcast, you're in a silent car treatment.
I know.
And then when you get to the bed, you kagere goes and somehow, and you can feel
the other.
You can feel the kabugumu in between, and you're
like a magnet.
Really, I'm missing out on a lot here.
But
you're
like, the other one is like,
I will not break
the ice. No.
I'm proud. I'm a man. You just push the kalega and say
I know, that's the way of life. If you can get help, get help. If you think it has gone beyond what you can handle, just the two of you, get help. And for some of you that have actually come to us, it has been a chat. Because people think therapy is about seriousness.
No, this is what they think. Who is winning?
Who is judging?
Let's go. Yeah, we are going to a judge who is going to tell us
who is right and who is wrong.
You got it wrong.
No.
Because most times, mostly for people who do it professionally, they will listen more than talk.
Yeah.
And it's at that point that all that we look for is the fact that you can identify where you went wrong.
The patterns, yes.
Yeah, where you went wrong, and identify what you need to do right
to make it right
and fix your own relationship or marriage.
Exactly.
So we are not actually fixing it. No.
We are helping. We are
facilitating
the
really,
process.
that you guys can be able to see where you got it wrong and be able to fix it.
Exactly.
And move on and life
and
continues.
Be happy.
But it's a beautiful thing. Just like I said in my opening remarks, Hilda, those differences are human. They will always be there and they are okay. Problem is, when you're having them, don't take it for granted. Don't take it for granted. I think what the problem is, when you're having some of these differences and you are not taking lessons from some of those differences and failures. Because this is what happens when I'm meeting Hilda I'm dating Hilda and I get to know a certain side of Hilda that I never saw in the time of our dating, then I learn that this is Hilda.
Yeah.
So next time, I should be careful not to rub her the wrong way. So even when we are laughing about it, even when we are crying about it, even we are hugging, I'm taking a lesson that there's something wrong that I did. So I shouldn't take it for granted. And then number 2, when I'm apologizing, I mean it. I don't do it for the sake.
Exactly.
I mean it. I apologize
It's an
and
about
I
time.
mean what I'm saying in apologizing. That, you know, I am very sorry. I will never do this again. I promise. I will not do this again. And she can read it in my eyes that I really mean it. I'm serious. I mean what I'm saying. And I'm indeed sorry.
Yeah.
And then the actions follow.
They follow, yeah. And you can vividly see it. I know we are not talking about it, but now that you have you've brought that, and it's very crucial, especially in this season, because most of the festive seasons highlight resentment. They highlight where you should be celebrating, you actually become more sad. And some of the things that cause resentment, I think we talked about it some time back, and we said it is the continuity of someone doing something that you told them that you do not want, but they are not stopping it. You love them, but they cannot stop this particular pattern. So that means even when they say sorry, they go back and do it, they go back and do it, and they go back and do it. So there, the resentment is growing, the love is coming down, and there is a moment where love gets depleted, like totally, when to the point of no return. There is love coming back to 50, and then you can stagger to 60, go back to 70%, stagger to 40, go back. But there are times where you deplete. What resentment does is it shrinks, it zaps out all the energy until you are at around 20. You know, when a battery loses everything, that means it can't charge again. Like bimusobedde, tamanyi wakulaga, tamanyi chakukola. There is until they're like, you know what, I think love was not for me. Let me just give up on love. You know, and I don't want us to get there.
During COVID, you know, when you said it highlights, I remember the time of COVID. You know, when you have no reason, when you have no choice but to stay home, and then
with the same person you were running away from,
you have to face your nightmare, I would say, because you dreaded staying in the same place. I know these things that I'm saying are real to some people. Some people just find everything or try to do everything that can help them keep away from home. Why? Because they are not ready to face everything therein. So they hide at every opportunity and they are away. You know, if it's a trip, they will be the first ones to volunteer, volunteer for the trip or to. But
I want to know, what do they be thinking? Do they think these problems are going to solve themselves? Sometimes I would want to have a sneak peek of their mind.
If you can postpone your pain, people think probably I might buy some time.
Maybe she will forget. Maybe he will give up on it.
So Christmas happens to be one of those dreaded times because it's in this season that families come together. So you at times have no choice but to be home. And then they give you that eye of
you were running at how many miles per hour.
And then you know those sessions where they say I think we'll need some time to talk. You're like,
the most dreaded word in the world, statement in the world.
What to talk about then?
Talk about what?
So when you said highlight, I mean these seasons really, you know, the highlight are resentment. It's like you somehow have to face your fears and you have to deal with a few of those issues. Some of you work from abroad, you've not been in the country, and you know exactly what you're about to face.
Let me tell you, problems have already started with the basama trickling in like Nsenene. Some of them, the recent story I had, a husband comes back without informing the wife, spends 3 days in a hotel with someone else, and the wife gets to know that the husband is in the country. And she's eagerly waiting. The husband is coming back for Christmas season. And now she's fainting. She literally fainted and was taken to hospital.
When she found out.
How
sad.
I know.
How sad.
So you see how there's so many, and I think I told the guys in the mentorship while we were doing the Pray Plan and Prosper, and I was telling them, whatever the reason, there is a way that devil highlights the last season of the year, the last days of the year. You will hear so many deaths, like people dying, accidents. You will hear so many heartbreaks. You will hear so many divorces or separations, marriages or something like that. As in, at the peak of excitement, the devil, I think he usually feels, because most people, their guards are down. Yeah. The prayerfulness has gone. They stopped fasting. They are now, it's party after party. And even the moral guards are down. So the devil penetrates so much when it comes to these days. And I hope that you can beware and watch. And not just give up on your marriages. And I think at some point we'll have to talk about prayer in preparation for next year, or even generally life, marriage, relationships. We will get a time and talk about that. But today, some of you are wondering, why is she holding old papers? These are not old papers, my friends. These are actually questions, and we want to take a moment and respond to some of these questions. Many of you have sent questions. We are yet to go through them. In case you have a question that is burning and you feel that you would want response to it, please send it on the number on your screen. We will be able to go through it. We will respond to it, so that at least you're not left behind. For some of you that can't come to the therapy sessions, you can't come to the events, you can't sign up for the mentorship, you can't come to Men in the initiative. Yes, so at least we'll be able to respond to some of these questions, and we can all benefit from this. So one, I think let's just dive in.
Yep, sure.
This one says that I'm a wedded woman with 2 children. For a long time, my husband has not been providing because he did not have a job. But when he got a job, he started loving other women, and he has produced with another woman. When I tell him to consent to divorce, he refuses to sign the divorce. Life is not so easy for me. What do I do?
Asking the wrong question. Yet we must answer.
What do I do? Yes, definitely we have to give some clarity. I feel like
most people in such situations usually ask the wrong question. And I wouldn't ask what to do, because I think I already know what to do. Because yes, you've explained, married to this guy, he was broke, got a job, he has some money, married another woman. Now he has 2 children in the second.
Has a child
in the other marriage.
Produced
in the
with
new
another
marriage.
Woman.
Yes, exactly. And you've requested for a consent to divorce. And what do we do?
What do I do?
And I think it was still on the show where I said the physical movement is evidence of your long term, of you being in the place of I moved long time ago. So at that point there is no need for consent, because if you moved, then you'd not be talking about a consent to divorce. Okay, you'd have already taken a step to show this man that I am not willing to be a second wife.
Yes.
I'm not willing for second best. You either have me or have the other woman, but you will not have the 2 of us. So the question of what do, I call it a wrong question, because by the time you're thinking about a divorce, then you know exactly what to do. And when does a divorce happen? A divorce happens the day your heart begins to shift or move from the place where it was, because of the different things
that are happening.
So in your heart, you've already started moving from this person. Okay, and what you're afraid of is what you do not know, what lies ahead of you or your decision. So the reason that's why I said you're asking the wrong question is because I think what you need to know is what are some of the fears. Okay, say what are some of the expectations I should have if I moved today.
Exactly.
How do I deal with life if I moved out of this marriage?
Yes.
How do I handle myself without this man? You get, those will be the right questions.
Which is quite frustrating.
Yes. So I'm in that place of Azen. By the time a physical movement happens, you already moved in your heart. So it is just an evidence of what you decided long time ago. So there's no reason of I need a consent of divorce, or I need a consent, or an acknowledgement, or I need to be understood, or if you really think that you don't want to be second, or you do not want to be the second wife or the third wife or the fourth wife, and you feel you want your man alone, then the first thing to do is communicate it. As simple as that.
I feel like she has communicated it, because what I hear here is a woman that is frustrated because she had expectations. She had expectations of, I love you, you love me. COVID has hit, or for a very long time, you've not had a job, and she is providing. She's paying fees. She's paying everything at home. When you get a job, finally, the woman is like, finally, he has a job. He's going to take care of us. And he has seen my goodness. I've been a good woman. You know, I have taken care of this home. Most of the women think that is like auditioning, by the way. So it's like you want validation for this person to tell you that, oh, you are the most wonderful woman. So now I am going to, time for me to take care of you. But you see how you have expectations, and the other one does something totally different. So now that is a broken expectation already, and this person is not willing. It wasn't just a fling. You have a child with another woman, and when you have a child with another woman, that means she has talked about, by the time she's saying I am asking for consent of divorce, I am thinking this is actually a negotiation tactic. But the man is not willing to change, because he already has another child, and he still wants to keep it that way. Because I've had so many scenarios, and this applies to both women and men, but mostly to men, where a woman says, he told me to give him time so that he can sort himself. He told me to give him time so that he can see how to disentangle from the other relationship. But while he's disentangling, he's sending messages, he's flirting, you know, he's still going to the other woman. And after that, the woman is pregnant, but he asked for time. Just give me time. I can't just break her heart like that, you know. But I'm the one who led her on. And now she has a child. You know, let me take care of the child. So now the woman stays in the limbo of expectation that you never know. Okay, let me forgive the fact that he has a child. Let me forgive the fact that he went ahead and took another woman. Let me forgive the fact that he actually did not provide as I expected. Let me blind my eyes to that, but does he still love me? You get it? But now she no longer sees the love. She no longer sees the commitment. She no longer sees the responsibility, no loyalty, no respect, no friendship, no acceptance. Like all the pillars of a marriage are broken. And now she's throwing in, you know how you would throw in a word to see what comes out. Because so she expects, if I say
divorce,
I think we should divorce, then you'll be like, you're not going anywhere, or something like that. And the people who say that, when someone says, let's divorce, and then the man, his response, it's very possible that he said, but where are you going? And then some of them, by the way, they go even abusive and insulting. Like, but you've given birth to 3 children. Who is going to marry you? You get it? So now he wants you to stay in a home. He is not willing to let you go. He's not saying, you go.
There are chances his communication is as clear as is.
That I don't need, I'm not your husband.
I am your husband as well as her husband.
Yeah, stick to that.
You are 2 women. I'm your husband.
Accept that.
Okay? there are chances because
And she doesn't want it.
we are trying to think for them.
And she doesn't want
We
it.
are trying to think for them, but their chances, his communication is as clear as, you are my wife, she is my
and
wife.
nothing is going to
you
change.
have children with me, she has children with me.
And then when she says, I want to go, sina kugobako. Where are you going?
Yeah.
I still love you.
So that's why I still think in such cases, people find themselves asking the wrong question. To me, I would think you tell us she got a second woman, married her, they now have children, and I'm still his wife, but I'm not settling for place number 2, or I'm not settling
for another,
for sharing a man. What I would want, I don't want a polygamous marriage. What I would want is a man to myself. So if I left this marriage, what next? What do I need to address? What do I need to deal with if I'm to leave this marriage? That will be the right question, because it does not seem like the man is hiding the second marriage. Seems like it is an open thing and she knows it. But she still thinks he can leave the other marriage
and come back. Which
may not happen. Because if the guy was apologetic about it, probably it would have been displayed in that message that he's hiding. He married a second wife, but he does not want to confront it or admit it.
So that means the ball is in your hands. The
ball is in your hands.
As a woman.
And the questions, if you are listening to us and probably you are in the same scenario, the real issue is, yes, it is true. It's absolutely true that you once took care of the home. You once took care of him. You paid the bills. You helped out the family. And he never returned the favor when now he had the money.
He actually paid you.
So it is the harsh reality. It's happening right now, but the future is not waiting. So my issue here is, you look at yourself as you alone and your child, or as with your children, and try to address tomorrow. Simple. Do you need a job to be able to take care of you and the children? If you must do it, do it.
It's possible she has one because she was taking care of the home.
Exactly. Because now, lamenting about the past might not help a lot. Is into fresh love, new love.
Butterflies.
So, yes, so it's possible that everything that you will say will fall to deaf ears. So don't waste a lot of time, okay? Kutisa with a divorce, and I know, take care of you, take care of your children, take care of your home. If that man is to come back, he'll come back. But if you must live without him, start working on that.
Time to choose you, time to be deliberately selfish.
And
get all the love.
I usually say, I mean, we are not here for forever. You've already lost time. Don't lose more time.
I know.
Start doing whatever that you think will put a smile on you and your child,
especially
and your
if
children.
You did everything that you had to do as a woman. To make this marriage work.
Reverse is true. If that man is hiding, there are chances he's not ready for a second marriage. Probably. At a certain point, may want to come back and fully settle with you. But the one who has come out,
but this one is already out.
Yes, the one who has come out. Now I'm trying to address issues beyond just this question. That if the guy is still hiding, is
still doing everything that he needs to do back at home.
Exactly. That's a different case. But the one who has come out and wants you to understand, like they put it.
These are the cards. He has placed them on the table.
That I have a second wife, and we're expecting a baby. The ball is in your courts.
And I'm not taking care of you. I got money, but I'm taking care of everyone else.
Exactly. And so it's as plain as this, that if he has a second, it's possible he can have a third. And he can have a fourth. So don't even try to tie him down to this, that now that you have a second, don't add a third. Some women will even get pregnant to just make sure that he sticks around. So don't even try. So deal with the reality
as is.
Okay? Without trying to make yourself, a bit of pity, and the child,
I think
the whole village should feel for me.
What are they going to
All
do?
my relatives should, everyone should understand what I'm going through. No one wants to know. They also have their own issues.
Exactly. And the other one is a mature man with
Address-
a brain, a functioning brain.
Address the most important things about where you're at right now and where you'd want to go to from now.
Yeah. And if the answers that are before you, you have answers, but you don't want to hear of those answers. Do you know that sometimes we know the answers, we have the answers, but we don't want, because that is not what we want. We do not want to walk away. We do not want to be single mothers. We do not want, it's actually not being single, but we do not want to lose the love. We think we still love this person, and maybe we have hope that this person will come back to us. But a person who does not care about you and your children and does not even provide, and can go and have another woman and have another child, you know, that means there is just something amiss. Sure. There is just something amiss. All right, I think we go to the next one. Okay, this one says that, okay, there is this couple where a husband is not transparent at all. He's not contributing towards any development, not even home needs, school fees, and the wife has been transparent. He's a drunkard and chaotic, causes violence, and at home and at the wife's place of work. Right now they are separated. What advice would you give to the woman? Thank you. She's my sister. Yeah, she's asking on behalf of her sister. Though I would want to pass a warning when it comes to this particular one. I don't know whether we've heard it very well, but let me read it again. There is this couple whereby a husband is not transparent at all. He does not contribute towards any development, not even home needs, not even school fees, and the wife has been transparent. He is a drunkard, chaotic, causes violence both at home and at the wife's place of work. Right now they are separated. What advice would you give to the woman? Thank you. She's my sister. I think the warning I wanted to give is sometimes when we represent third parties, we don't have the full scope of the story. Though, when you look at the part of the contribution and everything else, it's very possible that actually she told you exactly what is happening. Some people, when they are narrating stories that are happening in their lives, they over-exaggerate. Yeah? And so sometimes you don't have the truth of the matter to what it is. So what we are going to address is as is, if it's indeed happening, because chances are there's someone out there. I have seen people who are going through the exact thing. Okay? And where the man does not contribute anything, but all the money is used in drinking. And then after drinking, he has to come back and cause chaos, you know, and insult and abuse and attack, you know, and then until the woman gets tired and she decides that, you know what, let me just go. He does not even take care of us, and he's causing all this chaos. He's shaming me and embarrassing me everywhere. Let me just go and, you know, just be on my own. For me, I think it's not simple when you are going through such a situation, because the reason as to why she has stayed with him is because she really loved him, and maybe she wants to, you know, to still stay with the father of her children. But when a man chooses drunkenness, that is substance abuse. That means he cannot have self-control as to what he does. So that is why he chooses chaos. The Bible says that omwenge mukudazi. Like, it mocks you, the one who drinks it. You urinate in your pants, you're found in trenches. There are women who pick their husbands in trenches, and there are men who pick their women in trenches, you know, or even from bars. So that means that person doesn't have any self-control. They cannot self-regulate. But again, if you drank and went and slept, that would be another thing. But if you drank and you go to the woman's place of work, the woman who works, takes care of her children, takes care of your home as a man, you get it, and you still want to bring embarrassment to her and chaos to her, that means there's actually something wrong with your head.
Oh, I know. The reason I'm looking at you, the way I'm looking at you, I've never been in that position. Personally, I've never used, you know. So, but I've been with couples, or I've been with people who have been in the same scenario, and at times all I do is just to pray for them, because then what do you do? when you find yourself in such a situation, because at times there was this particular couple. The woman said, he's the best guy, the best man.
When not drunk.
He's the kind, omuyitako, n'omulinnyako, now ye nakugamba sorry. And he will apologize about everything. Wait, he will apologize about everything. He will provide everything at home. Actually, most of them are real providers, the drunkos.
Some of them, yeah.
Majority that I've met, they provide. Surprisingly, the ones I've met provides everything at home. Actually, most of the women that I used to talk to, they would say, I actually control even his finances. But he has money that
I don't know about.
He says that one is indicated. And I know where it goes. It goes into drinking. They're not womanizers. You'll never find them in...
Some of them. Not all.
Majority that I've come across. So it was like, if
it's
the reason as to why I'm still here, it's because of the other good about this guy that I can't just I can't let go. I like him before he drinks. It's just a drinking problem. So the best I always tell them is that let's pray. Let's just pray that one day.
That one day he can
God will change him. Because then what do you do?
Speak into his
life.
What
do you do?
Because he has to want that change.
I have tried to talk. I think the last one that we did, I was with you, where I had to tell so many stories about my own family members. Some of them are dead, others are alive, who have died miserably because of drinking.
Yeah.
And here is this young man who listens to the stories and starts crying. And what we're handling is we're having a therapy session. Yeah. And the next day, he waits in his pants, drinks, waits in his pants, and sleeps, in the couch. So at times I feel like they're helpless. It's demonic. I don't know what
some
it
of
is.
it, yeah.
It's so bad.
Some of it you'll find
annoying.
It's even running in family.
So annoying. I told you the story about my own brother.
Yeah.
A very, I would say, sensible guy who would have made a very good life, good family, wasted completely because of drinking, because of alcohol. So sometimes I feel for such people. The best I can say is pray.
Yeah, because when this happens, when he becomes chaotic, comes to your place of work and insults you and causes violence, when you try to react, the next thing could be being beaten. And remember, he's not in his proper state of mind. It's possible he can kill you, and after he's not drunk, then he's like, why did I do this? You get it? Yeah. So such a person cannot get away with just embarrassing you every other time. Every other time. As in, let him pay for his own house, let him pay for his own food, let him, as in, you have to be able to love yourself enough and love him to help him, but when you are away, because you can't help him while you are with him. That is where interventions are needed. That is where people are taken to rehabilitation centers, even for drinking. And you're like, you know what? Let me talk to his family. Let's take him to a rehabilitation center. Or if it can't be a rehabilitation center, let me separate from him. In case he puts his ways right, we can be able to sit back on a table and talk. But until he's clean, if he cannot clean up his mess, I am not going to be with such a person for the rest of my life. Bring up my children while they see what their father is. They are going to do exactly what he is doing. If you have boys, if you have girls, they are still going, what are you teaching the girls? You're teaching them to stoop too low, to stay with people who cannot love them enough to change and to rectify their ways. So either way, you are losing and your children are losing. And you are not redeeming any age. You are growing older. You are growing, stress is accumulating on you. Soon you will not be able to perform at work. That means you will not be able to eat. Your children will not be able to eat because he's not contributing to anything.
Yeah, that's a reality.
So what you want to redeem is your functionality and your capacity to perform so that you can be able to survive.
So action points are not just at your level, but involve some people.
Yeah, family, especially people he listens to. Such
yes.
people don't listen to anyone,
Yeah,
but they have particular people.
Give it a shot. Try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You try, and if they cannot help, then I know it's harsh to say it, but give him space. See whether he can fight for his family or try to rectify his ways and clean up. If he cannot, let him be alone so that he will sleep in his trenches in peace, so that he will not be disturbed. Because such people, it's like you're disturbing them. You ask them where they're coming from, because, I mean, sometimes you're tempted to even call police on them. He's coming at work and you're like, Askari, Mugobe. And then he's hurling insults through the window. Where he touch, and sometimes they will even not bakuita bacha kuwemula. Baja kuwemula, you know? And let me tell you, they actually understand. That is why someone will say, let me go and drink, I come back, I show you fire. Why didn't they show you fire before they drank? Yeah. That means they understand what they are doing, and if they really wanted to, they would change. But they don't love you enough to change. So the best thing is to give them the space so that they can urinate in their beds and sleep in them until jiggers eat them. Yeah. Okay. Sometimes, Jesus, let's move on. I'm a retired civil servant, a widow and 5 children and grandchildren from different mothers. There's an evil spirit of theft, destruction, and death threatening. What should I do about this problem to overcome it? She's a retired civil servant, I think, yeah, a widow, 5 children, and 5 grandchildren from different mothers. There is an evil spirit of theft and destruction, death threatening. What should I do about it? I think the best is prayer.
There's nothing, it's spiritual. It's a spiritual issue.
Yeah, a spiritual prayer, and then to do a spiritual mapping.
So when we talk about a spiritual, what we really mean is the only and only intervention beyond just knowledge, beyond just what you've studied, is God himself fighting for you. That's why we say spiritual. That what's acting on you are forces beyond what the physical can handle, what just knowledge can handle. Forces. So what you need is prayer, God's intervention into issues deeper than your ability to understand, comprehend, or deal with. And only God can do that. So if you can't do it on your own, you get what we call prayer partners, and you share your burden with them and get them to a place to pray with you. Usually it's good if it's done in your home. Yeah, not just at a church, but at home, where you have some people who can hold hands with you and believe God with you and pray with you. Yes,
that's true.
So then God will give you wisdom in those prayers, and will give you guidance in those prayers, and direct your prayers to particular things or particular areas. She talked about spiritual mapping, but direct particularly to deal with particular issues, as you've highlighted, because it seems like you're aware of what's happening. What is actually attacking. You share and then pray. Deep, take time to pray. The Bible says some things cannot go away but with fasting and prayer. So probably there will be a time where you need to consecrate yourself and go deeper into at least fasting
for your family,
for your family,
your whole family.
Yes, and God will.
God is faithful. And just a little bit about that, to just expound on that. When the Bible says that we do not fight against flesh and blood, we do not wrestle against flesh and blood. It's the invisible power, it's the principalities
and powers.
And the powers in the high places. But that means we are visible to them, they are not visible to us. And I equate it, last week I was still teaching about spiritual warfare, and I was talking about the wind that came against the disciples when Jesus was in the boat sleeping, and the wind that came that rose up the waves, and the waves were beating against the boat. Now when you look at the wind cannot be touched, you cannot smell it, you cannot feel it. Yeah, but when it raises the waves and the waves are beating against the boat, now the waves are the problems and the boat is you. The water was getting into the boat and they were sinking, and they prayed and said that, don't you see? Like it was desperate prayer. I usually encourage people, because I've gone through it. I think I've even said it on this show, when I took my family through a time of cleansing and through a time of perpetual prayer to just cut off. I believe that prayer did a lot to cut my family off what happened in the past and the things that were following the bloodline and all that, because I wanted my family, I felt like there was something that should be different in my family, and that took being desperate. When someone is desperate, they are going to be consistent. They are going to concentrate themselves, like you have said. They are going to fast. They are going to seek help, because they know that what they are fighting is powerful, and so they need to engage a powerful God. Because at the end of that story about the disciples, Jesus rises and he raises his hand and calms the storm, and the disciples are like, who is this man? Even the wind can listen to him. So that means some of those invisible powers, they only listen to God. They only listen to Jesus. So your prayer life has to be on another level. You have to be totally on another level, and I hope that you can be able, and this goes to all of us that are actually watching. You cannot say, I didn't know. You can't say, I didn't know. Some of those things you've seen while you go for burials, while you go for family meetings, you have had some of the things that are done, some of the rituals that are done. And let me tell you, it does not stop there. The kind of food they eat, they give you to eat, the kind of clothes they give you to tie around, the kind of rituals that they actually make you do, they do not stop at that. They are following, they are claiming, they are covenants, and covenants can only be broken in prayer, and hope that you can take it serious. All right. Okay. This is, let's see. Okay. My firstborn at 19. Okay. Okay, someone says that what can someone do to an in-law who calls and abuses father-in-law, mother-in-law after having a small misunderstanding with his wife? Omoko atabuka. By the way, it's true. I've heard I've heard of abako, and mostly men. It's very rare that a woman will call the other side and abuse. But when a man, mwala wa mweta ina magezi, mumundoni mumutwali, and insults, properly insults. Yeah. And then after that, they make up with the wife. And the wife goes back and says, Mama Sonyo, forgive him. Yeah, so what can someone do to an in-law who calls and abuses the father-in-law and mother-in-law after having a small misunderstanding with his wife?
I think it's again down to you as a woman. For us men, we are oriented by you women about your families. You set the standards of how you should be treated. You set the standards of how your family should be treated. And we follow. If the standards that you have set as a woman call for that kind of treatment, it will always come. You as a woman, it is your duty to protect
your
family. And with dignity. Okay? But if you're the kind who shows your man that even when they are looking for 10,000 shillings for burial, man should contribute 2,000, you're only and only opening a door that will never be shut. He will always think of you that way. If you think that every time there is a problem at your home, your man should be the first one to know. And then you're not just talking about your home, but you are pulling out every dirty linen, every skeleton in the closet, and you're telling it to this man. What do you expect? That ajja bikulangira. Just know it. At a certain point, ajja bikulangira. So there are certain things that you as a woman should keep to yourself. In a way to protect you and the dignity of where you come from. There is no perfect family, and there is no a family that is all sufficient. We all have our issues, but you being able to protect your mother, to protect your father and your siblings, and by that I mean
very important.
To not let your man to know everything that happens is enough to give this man a bit
of fear.
And you know, when you're in a place of
there's mystery
and suspense, and you're like, how will this be interpreted? There is no man who wakes up one day, unless is naturally just mupangulu kufumularu, who, because the first day you go to see this family, you're all humble. Even when ngoli mularu bichi kubuko, you go there, you know, trying to put yourself together and try to be very respectful, and there's someone speaking on your behalf and everything, simply because you don't know the kind of family you're getting into. Now, how come that after a year or 2 years, you're the same person who is insulting them? It's because there's a door
that was open.
And who opened it? It was your wife. You, the woman. You let your man get deep to know a lot about your family that he shouldn't know. So he's judging you by the same. So if you using the very example, Joe Wade, you know, he is pulling insults about your mother and about your father because he knows the information about you guys. So the best thing to do is keep certain things to yourself, you know. And that's the chitiwa, that's the only way you can set good pace, and that's the only way you will earn respect for yourself and for your family. So don't be, so to speak, an open book. No one called you to be so, because it is your family. So to a certain extent, certain things should be kept private. Okay?
I want
until you can read, because there are some men who deserve that place, but they work for it. And you should have the wisdom as a woman to read into it and know that this is the kind of man that is more than just a son-in-law. He actually
is a real son.
So that one, even if he gets to know,
and
he will still respect.
That's very true.
But then some women don't have that wisdom, because again, I've been in a place, you know, I come from a family of 5 girls, and we are the last 2 boys. And what I'm talking about is very practical. Practical to mean I've seen these insults coming to our own family, and we were like, naye bino wali onyumya nabyo, naye wali onyumya naye byaki, okimanyi sajja kyo tekitegeera tekirina magezi, because you get to a point where you feel
I know
because you know when this guy is insulting, he does not just insult your mother, your father, or your siblings. He insults you as well, and you can tell that the way he's insulting is from a point of information, and you're like, you just want to grab your system kwebeko bibikonde mugakati bino byayi bimukwatirako okimanyi tekitegeera wali omugamba byaki.
I love that because tekitegeera, you can even know them in a relationship.
You can know that this is not the kind of man. Omanya kino kisajja kyange tekitegeera nnyo nkambere nakyo nga bwe kiri. Naye notakifuula kyaffe ffenna, kitatuwasa ffenna
kutumanyiiza. Chikwasa n'obusungu.
I've told you, I mean, we are the last 2 boys, so I've seen 5 girls. I have seen fire. Why you're like, what were you thinking?
I know.
What were you thinking? This is
you should have kept quiet.
This is no, we got to a point where we feel like we don't want to invite some of our sisters, some of those deep family meetings, because you're like, she's going to carry this information. Ajibulire ekintu ki.
Oh Lord, abako abatategeera banaye mweddeko. But sincerely speaking, there are people just and sometimes it's not even ngeri gye babakuzamu. Some parents bring up children mu ngeri ennungi, and the children just choose to be weird. So we cannot even blame their upbringing, but there are people who are just psychopaths. Like Balalu.
But bottom line, Hilda, you as a woman, it is your duty
to protect.
It is.
You're the first line of defense.
When it comes, because was it on this show? I said, a woman is given to me. When is a woman given to me? When I go to her family. So what happens is her family receives me as a son.
As a son, yeah.
The only and only way I'm properly adopted into that family, okay, is how the woman they have given to me orients me about the family. So if the orientation about the family is bad, that's how I will
check them forever.
Exactly. So it is your duty as a woman to keep certain things to yourself. Most especially those things that you know are sensitive. You don't want to tell your husband.
Mwali basize mukama n'abanunula.
Oleeta bya ebinya byaki. Ajja bikulangira nga mutabuse. You know, ajja bikulangira nga mutabuse.
I know.
So some of these things,
and sometimes ne batabikulangira.
Some of these things,
look at this
some
scenario.
of these things in this orientation take time. Take time
to understand.
Take time and keep on mpola, because as you keep together, as you stay together, time never lies. It's a matter of time that you will be able to know that I can trust this man with information about my home or where I come from. Or
I can't.
Because even in your own family, you, Jova Katengagwe Hilda, there's some family members that you don't want in a family meeting.
That's true.
Exactly. So this son who has been adopted into your family,
the one who has
issues, leave
him out. The problem is they are not invited, but they have representatives. The women who need validation and they feel they can speak about everything.
No, I'm saying you as a woman. You
keep
as
the
a
woman
woman
away, and when you keep the man away, and when you come to the meeting, don't take the information.
Bas.
But
you will be safe.
That they will and I think there are certain types of women who never learn.
Yeah.
As in, someone does something once, okay, and na webuka oba naba webula, but you don't have the sense to say that once bitten, twice shy. That next time I am not going to actually tell him. And you find out you will find a better way of just sliding over the information and not not telling them what exactly transpired. And you will be like, hey, okay, and it will be like that. But guess what? Such people are nosy and they make friends in the family. And those friends that they make, by the way, they even give them money. Do you know, they buy themselves into the family. By the time a man can call a woman, that means he began by manipulating them to get inside. You can never fight from outside, just like you say, when things are mysterious. You come peeping until your head is inside. You buy yourself, you talk to people, you go and visit the mother-in-law. The mother-in-law gets soft with you, and then you bring fire. So, I don't think we are going to have enough time for another question. I think this is the best that we can be able to do for this particular episode. But we will come back with, I think I've enjoyed myself in this Q&A, because these, real issues that are going through are happening in homes. And I know that when one person asks, you ask on behalf of millions of people. And so I just need us to just take into consideration some of the things that we have talked about. We need to be wise. We just need to be wise. And then the indecisiveness. I think, just to wrap up some of the things that we have hinted on, never be in a place of indecision, because indecision is a decision. That means you've made a decision not to make a decision. And that means you are prolonging your misery. Because even if you said, yes, I am going to stay in this marriage the way it is, do you know that your mind is going to settle? Your stress is going to come down. Your anxiety is going to come down. And you're going to accept things as they are. And if you decide to move on, you will be like, I have decided to actually move on. So you realize that either way, negative or positive,
There's
a
a decision.
will always help you to put in perspective so many things
yeah.
and to take away the stress. So indecisiveness is not a place you can stay for long. If you need to seek help,
absolutely.
seek
Do it,
help.
yeah.
So that you can be able to do this. For those of you that can be able to sign up for the different mentorships, the men have a mentorship that is the
Inspire Men
Men
Initiative.
Initiative. They meet every Friday.
Thursday.
Every Thursday
Yeah.
at 7?
7:30 we're online, and we always share a link.
Yes. So when
on
you
our socials,
send
yeah.
a message to the number, most of you have been sending your messages to the number on the screen, and I actually have been helping you to get into the
main
main
group.
initiative. And then for those of you that want mentorship, you're a woman and you have a business, you're a minister, you are in marriage, but you have goals and you want to achieve them, we have a full year mentorship, okay? And we are currently registering, and we are on an early bird kind of entry. Now, that is not the accelerated mentorship. Accelerated mentorship is for coaches, speakers, and business people that want to build brands that are profitable, irresistible, and in demand. That is a totally different program. This one is a hold my hand kind of mentorship, where we meet as women, where we talk about our issues, where we guide ourselves, where we create individual strategies for you to be able to, if you have been doing resolutions for all the past years, and then you get to December and you're discouraged and you're like, I didn't hit anything, you need someone to work with. You need a community that can keep you accountable. So that is the hold my hand mentorship for women, okay, that are in business, in ministry, you are a public figure, but you want to hit your goals. Let's just sign up for that and see how far we can go. Otherwise, from us to you is a bye-bye.